Hello, hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. And cards that would fit a variety of occasions because they're very just sort of generic sentiments that I chose. And I did some very simple watercoloring, a little bit of 3D embossing, splatter, of course, and I made tape with vellum. It'll make sense when we get to it. Trying to explain it ahead of time. Why do I bother? Anyway, everything I used will be listed and linked in the description box below the video. My links are affiliate links. That just means that if you click on one of my links and end up placing an order, I get a little kickback from that at no extra cost to you. That is what helps keep the lights on, pays the bills, enables me to keep bringing out content. And yeah, let's jump into making these cards. So I'm using the Wildflower Cuttings stamp set. I've used a couple of the sentiments in this set in a previous video, but I hadn't used any of the images, and they're just so pretty. They're very delicate. So I chose a couple of them. I really like this one that's, just a little like cluster in the vase. And then this one, and this applies to any sort of narrow or like very long, thin image that you want to line up with a coordinating wafer die. I've shown this in other videos. As I was laying the stamp out, I actually laid the die like face down on my cardstock there. And then that way the stamp, I could like make sure that it fit kind of into the opening of the wafer die. That way, when I'm done and I go to die cut it, it lines up, because those long, thin, narrow type stamps, so often I end up mangling it when I go to stamp it, and then I go to die cut it later and it doesn't line up. So that's one way to line up your stamps if they're like this, where they've got just, very long, thin lines, sentiments, scripty sentiments, those type that are very long, that sort of a thing. That's an easier way to line them up before you stamp them to save the aggravation, because especially if you're doing something like watercoloring or having to color an image and then you get it all done and then it doesn't line up with the die and it's like, no. So anyway, I stamped them onto some Strathmore watercolor paper using the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And then, like I said, very, very simple watercolor. I'm using a few different shades of positively saturated inks. Specifically, I started with Dew for the water, Violet for the little flowers. I'm using Sage right now, and then I'll use a little bit of Cabbage. And I am just picking up the color from the lids, because I've got ink in all the lids of these that is just sitting there from when I would do ink blending. I've shown that how I'll tap my brush on the ink pad and then I'll tap it inside the lid just to tap off some of the excess ink, to get a softer blend. So all that ink is just sitting there. So rather than having to smush my ink pads onto a palette, things like that, I just picked it up from the lid, because also I didn't need very much, because they're small images. And yeah, I even painted like along the lines of the stems just to add that little extra hint of color. So I'm not worried about like staying inside the lines, anything. This is what I mean by simple. Anybody can do this. And yeah, just my little water brush. You could use a paintbrush with water. That gives you more control. But this is my little Tim Holtz detail water brush that I've literally been using for, I think, close to a decade now. It's the same one. It's stained, everything. Love it. Love it. Anywho, I die cut them after I was done. And then I white heat embossed the Just For You sentiment from that set onto some scraps of Sage cardstock, and I die cut them with one of the Simon Says Stamp sentiment label wafer dies that I have 2 of, because that is a die set I use so much that I bought a second set literally for things like this. When I'm doing 2 at once, it saves me the aggravation. So set those aside, and I took another stamp from that Wildflower Cuttings set, and I just stuck it to an acrylic block, and I'm stamping it onto more Sage cardstock using Sage Positively Saturated ink, just to create a bit of a pattern. Like, again, I don't know what it is. It's just pretty, Like, just this one stamp alone, I think is just so pretty. Like, it makes just a perfect, like, pattern, kind of delicate. I love it. So, stamp that a couple times just to fill out the area, because then I'm going to die cut that with big surprise. The Petal tipped labels, wafer dies. I've been using these since they were released. Was it a couple of months ago? I don't remember now. I don't even bother putting this die set away. It just sits on my desk because I reach for it all the time. Again, it's another one where it's just such a pretty little shape, and it works for so many things. So I die cut those panels, set those aside. Another thing that I told y'all I was going to be using this embossing folder. This is the Demilune. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that properly. That's how I think it's pronounced. Embossing folder. This came in the August 2025 card kit from Simon Says Stamp. It's available on its own as well. And I loves it. So I am embossing some Neenah Desert Storm cardstock with it. And I lightly misted one side of the paper. Just a few spritz. You don't need to like soak the paper, but misting it really lightly just adds a bit of moisture, and that helps soften the paper fibers. So you get a better embossed impression, and it also helps prevent cracking. So the panels I had embossed were slightly larger than A2 size. If you want a specific size of cardstock that you are planning to use a 3D embossing folder with, cut your cardstock bigger, because when you're pressing the patterns, the paper is getting pressed and moved up and down all the way around, and it will alter the size of the paper once it comes out of the embossing folder. So if I want it to completely cover an A2 card front, I just cut the cardstock a bit bigger, run it through the embossing folder, and then trim it with my paper trimmer. That way I know that it is A2 sized when I'm done, or whatever size I need it to be. And then the other thing I did was I took a white pigment ink pad and just lightly rubbed it over there. I didn't push it. I wasn't like pressing the ink pad. I was just lightly rubbing it so it picked up the high points of that pattern. Love. Okay. The vellum tape. This is what I was trying to started to try and explain in the intro. I have a piece of vellum and I stamped there's a little tape image in that stamp set. And I stamped it onto the vellum with clear embossing ink. And then I coated it with the detail white embossing powder. I'm going to melt this with my heat tool. And then I'm going to run this little piece through my little Xyron machine, the little Xyron X, this little sticker maker that I have had, again, for eons. I've shown this in many videos. It's been a while since I've used it. But basically, anything you run through this, it puts adhesive on the back and basically creates a sticker. And when you do it with vellum, it'll depend on the brand of vellum. I always use Simon Says Stamp's vellum. But this will work with just about any vellum. When you run it through a Xyron, because it coats the entire back of it with the adhesive, it makes it slightly more transparent. You could also do this with liquid glue. I normally don't. I did a video, a year or two ago with a larger image that I heat embossed on vellum, and then I used liquid glue just to see how it would work. I hated it. Hated it. Did not like doing that. It was a pain in the butt. However, for something small like this, you could skip the Xyron and just use liquid glue. It would kind of create the same thing. Just maybe swipe it on with your finger, and it'd be good. So I adhered my little twigs, whatever you want to call them, branches, to that background, and then peeled the backing off that vellum tape piece and pressed it into place. So it literally looks like a little piece of tape. It's super cute. And if you wanted to give it an aged look, depending on the type of, thing you were creating, you could, before running it through the Xyron machine or adding adhesive, you could use some alcohol markers or alcohol ink, some yellow shades or whatever, if you wanted to make it look like an aged piece of tape. I thought about that, but I wasn't going, vintage or grungy with this. So, but that's another idea. And I was like, oh, that could be fun too. So anyway, I popped those little decorative elements onto my card fronts with some of Simon's Big Mama foam tape. And then I put these into my splat box. And then I cut a couple scraps just to cover the sentiments because I don't want to get splatter on top of the sentiments. And then I'm going to use the Simon's Positively Perfect White Splatter Medium. Told y'all I was going to be using this. I like it. It's more subtle. It is not stark white, which is kind of nice. I like stark white splatter for certain things, but this I'm liking this. I can kind of do my little overboard of splatter, and it's not overkill. Sometimes I can't help myself, The only thing to remember with this stuff is because it's liquid and pigment subtle, make sure you either shake it up or stir it up really well before you use it, and you're good to go. So I used my little fan brush, dipped it in there, added a good healthy dose of splatter to these, remove my little makeshift masks, and then just set those aside to dry. And while those were drying, I stamped the insides of my cards. My card bases are also Desert Storm cardstock, and they're top folding A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I stamped that little branch on the insides with Aspen Positively Saturated ink, so just slightly lighter shade than Sage, which I used on the card fronts. So stamped that, and then chose another sentiment from the Wildflower cuttings set, and that I'm going to stamp with the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And this is what I mean by these being very like kind of multi-occasion cards, because they could sort of be for anything. You could use this as a birthday card, a thank you card, get well soon card. It's always nice to kind of have these ones that are a little more what I call generic in my stash, because you never know. Sometimes a weird thing pops up and you need to give someone a card, and you know, you might not have ones on hand. Ones like this, always nice to have. So after I had the insides done, I adhered the card fronts to the card bases. And then I'm also adding, these are the Opal Positively Dazzling gems, which I just love. They always look kind of boring like on camera until I tilt them, and then, you know, you get the nice little reflection. And the Positively Dazzling gems, the containers, like I'll just sit here and shake them like a nerd. Anyway, once those were adhered into place, these cards were complete. So just quick and easy, nice to have in the stash. Like I mentioned in the intro, I'll have links to all the things in the description box below. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, for thumbs upping and commenting, letting those robot overlords know you like what you see. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!